Hey, thank you for joining this little quick impromptu meeting, Zoom call meeting. I wanted to just talk a little bit about, for those of you that are really working hard, wanting to push your business to the point that you can get to Maui, whether that's in 2016 or not. If you're pushing your business to the point that you become Emerald, whether it happens in July 31st of 2016 or a little bit after is okay, but the purpose of this group is just to make sure that we're doing everything we can to help keep you on the right track and motivate you, inspire you, and just let you know what some of the challenges are that we've also faced. And so today what I was thinking about is I wanted to talk about that there are going to basically be three types of people that will join you in your business. And I really thought it was important to talk about this because if anything, there's been a few things that have slowed me down and tripped me up a little bit. And one of them has definitely been not knowing which type of person I had on my team. And so if you read the book Go Pro by Eric Worre, he classifies them as in three categories. He calls the first category posers, the second category is amateurs, and the third category is professionals. And obviously, if you want to get to Emerald status in Plexus Worldwide, you're going to need to be a professional. And we're going to talk a little bit about what that takes, what that means, and who on your team is not in that category. Not so that you ditch them and don't care about them, but just so that you're not pouring your energy and effort into them. Because I absolutely did that with people who ultimately just were not ready and didn't have the same level of interest, even though the words they were saying were that they did have that level of interest, but their actions weren't matching it. So these are the people that he would call amateurs or even posers. He would call these the ones that are thinking that like they joined Plexus and they punched a lottery ticket basically and are hoping that it's just going to ride them to this enormous success. But the problem is with them, then they quit when it gets hard. My question to people, and probably the easiest way for me to evaluate is, yes, there are some things that are hard. It is not easy, but it is simple. Okay, so there are parts of it that are absolutely hard, but I think it's important to look at hard in comparison to what. So if you look at your life situation and you look at the way that things are at this current moment, of course we all know how to appreciate the good things in our life and be grateful and thankful for all of the wonderful things, like especially if you've gotten your health back because of Plexus products. That's huge and that's a lot to be grateful for. But there are things about your financial situation or your time freedom that are certainly hard, especially if well, I can assume that if you are pushing towards financial freedom with Plexus, I can assume that there's either financial issues or time constraint issues, quality of life, things that are hard. So like when you think about how are you going to pay for college for your kids, or obviously when you first start out and your kids are little bitty, college seems like really far away and you think you have all the time in the world to plan for it. And then there's those of us on this side of it where I have a daughter that's in her second year of college and I have one that's a senior in high school right now. And I absolutely remember feeling like back when they were little that we had all the time in the world to plan for it. And not only that, but you really think that wherever you are in your at that early stage, you think by the time your kids get there, you're going to have it all locked down. You're going to be making more money. You're going to have put away money for their college. And not saying that you won't have put away money, but it just doesn't pan out quite as easily as you think that it will. And so when you come to that realization, you know, that's something that's hard. And so by comparison, the hard that our difficult days in network marketing is compared to that kind of hard where you're looking at possibly struggling infinitely financially, or having, you know, losing what you have, or going bankrupt, or any number of different constraints are a lot harder by comparison. So anyway, that would be my question to somebody about whether something's hard or not. But a lot of these people who join your team that are posers or amateurs are going to be a person who thinks, I'm going to find one rock star, and that one rock star is going to make it happen for me. It's going to take me all the way to the end, and that's all I need to do is find my one rock star. And those people really will typically not put in a lot of effort to find that one rock star. And they're very hopeful about it, and they'll do a minimal amount of work. They'll put out some stuff on Facebook and social media. They'll kind of tell everybody that they know and hope that basically I say it's kind of like they put the, put down the sign in their front yard that says, I sell plexus, and they expect people to start just lining up at the door and, signing up and jumping on board for the opportunity, for that matter. And that's just not the way it happens. We all absolutely have to work for building our business the way to this successful level. It's not just about putting the word out that you do it. So anyway, my question to those people is, if you're just waiting around, wasting all this time, and time is going to pass anyway, time's going to pass, you're waiting to get lucky and to have a rock star join your team that's going to carry you to the end. And what do you want from that rock star? Let's boil it down. You want them to take their business seriously. You want them to do what it takes, develop certain skill sets, or already have the skill sets. You want them to remain committed no matter what. And you want them to put into practice what they learn and go do it. Okay, so that's what you want out of your rock star. And my question is, instead of looking for luck, why don't you be that person? Because that's the way I looked at it. I thought, sure, it would be great if somebody joins me who just takes off. They have all these things in place. But the thing, I have no control over that. But what I do have control over is that I can be that rock star. I can be professional. I can develop the skill sets. And no, I did not have a lot of those skill sets, and I still work on them. So, but I do have control over it that way, rather than just sitting around waiting to get lucky. And so a lot of people fail out of the business as soon as it gets hard, or as soon as they realize that their rock star isn't just going to jump on board in the first 4 weeks, 4 months, somewhere in that time zone, and they just kind of bail out. There's a little bit in between. There are people that have some steam for a while. Life gets in their way, and they let life get in their way, which is really challenging. It's really hard to. Sometimes there are major life circumstances that obviously, if they just happen at the wrong time for somebody when they're just getting going, it's obviously going to slow them down. They're going to have to restart. But for the most part, you can build this business even through crazy life situations happening, and many of us have had to do it. So, but I won't talk too much about that. Okay. Some of the people who join Plexus for the opportunity will not have success because they are wanting to stay comfortable in that, what we call the amateur zone. They dabble in the business, hoping that they get lucky without putting the effort in, but it's more comfortable to stay in that amateur zone because they don't see themselves as a professional, and that's challenging and a little bit scary, and it's going to take work to get there, and so they're much more comfortable where they are. I'd say that's what I see the most of. I see the most of people staying comfortable in this little zone somewhere way below where their dreams are, but it's just a much more comfortable place for them to be. And that makes me sad because I see the potential in those people. And a lot of times those are the people who have amazing stories, who I just think, man, if I could just get you to get passionate and tell your story. Like, there are crazy, amazing stories on my team, but they're in that really comfortable amateur zone. And maybe they talk about wanting to have great success, but in their mind, they truly don't see it ever going beyond a couple $100s a month, and that's where they stay. Because the truth is, it's just like when you're driving. My driving teacher, when I was 15 or whatever in high school, I remember him saying that wherever you look, wherever your eyes are looking is where you'll start to steer. I never ever forgot him saying that. So it was always like, if you're looking off to the side, you'll sort of drift that way. And if you're looking to the side, you'll drift that way. Okay, so life is really distracting. There's lots of distractions that come along in life. And if that's what you get focused on, or negativity, or your self-doubt, like that's the way that you're going to head. So I never forgot that. And I forget where I was going with that point a little bit. Yeah, so it's self-fulfilling prophecy is what I was going to say about that. These are also the same people who won't look for their own answers. That can be really frustrating, and we can find ourselves caught up in that because maybe we see the potential in somebody. We spend a lot of time answering their questions for them, doing stuff for them. There comes a point where you start to realize that this person could absolutely find these answers themselves, could do the things themselves, and we're actually doing really a disservice to them. And I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. I'm going to talk about why I changed how I handled things. These are people who just want you to give them the answers. They don't want to go looking on their own. They want to message you and have you have the answer for them so that they can turn around and give the answer to somebody else. They don't want to develop that knowledge base on their own. Does that make sense? So those are people who won't commit to the sometimes boring, like day in and day out activities that it takes to get to the big exciting things like your Lexus and your huge paycheck, and they don't want to commit to the boring day to day. And the boring day to day is just, you know, putting your time commitment into practice and figuring out what it is that you have to do, seeking out personal growth, figuring out what your daily method of operation is. Hi, buddy. What your daily method of operation is. And nobody can design that for you. That's probably one of the most frustrating things as a leader, as somebody who has a team, is that a lot of times people want you to figure out exactly what they need to do every single day. And that's tricky because my day doesn't look like your day. My goals aren't the same as your goals. We're not at the same starting point. So there's just so many variables and so many factors that people really need to come up with that on their own, but we can give you a template and an idea. We can say, this is what works for me. This is what I've done. And you can use this and adapt it and use it for you. But then you have to put it into action, put it on a calendar, put it on a whiteboard. If you're a digital person, put it in your digital format. I'm very, very not digital. So I have everything up on my wall. Everything is up on my wall. So let me show you. Let me give you a tour. Okay. My son was there a minute ago. This is the TV that I have Chromecast plugged into. If you don't have a Chromecast, you should probably consider getting something like that. It might be helpful for you. I don't have cable in here, but what I do have is that Chromecast, and so it's plugged into the wall, and it's connected to my Wi-Fi, and I can sit there and watch trainings, YouTubes, webinars, what have you, anything on that TV while I'm sitting and doing other stuff, because I might need to use my computer and I'm doing customer follow-up or whatever. And then over to the far side, I'm trying to think which side you're looking at. I guess you're looking at that on the right side. But I have my long board, which I have my days mapped out. And of course, people always want to see exactly what mine says. And mine's just not going to look the same as yours. So up until June, I was working full-time, 50 hours a week, and my kids were crazy busy running everywhere with sports. And what I had to do was work out. So at the top portion, I'll have what my goals are for the year, and every single month is broken down. The points that I want for that month are there. I actually, I'll go over and stand there and at least point to it. So you can't see the numbers or the words, but I'll tell you what each section is. That'll be helpful for some of you. Okay, so this section right here has every single month of the year and exactly what points I want to hit. And I'll go back and put a check mark if I hit those points, obviously. It has my end of year goal. So for me, my goals at this point are Sapphire. The reason my goals are Sapphire is because it's inevitable. Emerald is inevitable. Unless all of you guys quit and disappear on me, Emerald's inevitable. So I have set my points, I have set my goals and reset them to Sapphire. So I'm going to need 3,000 points, okay? And so I have broken down what I want to hit each month for that. Then I have my monthly section that's right here. Watch my pen coming down. This whole column talks about monthly, what I have going on, opportunity meetings that people are having, online events that we're doing. It says what I want my topics to be in terms of team calls or whatever topic it is that I want to kind of focus on is on here. Just kind of different things I want to do each month, and then it's got fill-in spaces for what I want to do any one particular month, if that makes sense. So every month I want to add some files to the Google Drive because I'm trying to organize that better for us. Every month I want to evaluate my goals and my results. But this particular month, you know, I want to talk about this topic and have a meeting in this particular region. So that's how that monthly column looks. Weekly, this is my weekly column, and it says that I'm going to mentor, train, follow up, do planning, learning. So mentoring, I'll write somebody's name. So that never changes. And I'll write some people's names in the mentor section. Training, follow up with different customers that particular week. And I'll actually get those customers out of my, who goes on that board comes out of my customer box. And this is my, so I have everybody in here according to the days of the month. I just took out a chunk of it. And then all of my customers are behind it on a different index card. And so I know who I need to touch base with every week. And I'll just kind of pull those out and write them up here. Everybody doesn't have to do it this way, but I'm just going to show you what I do because this is what everyone always asks me to do. So if I've got follow-up with those people, they go on that section of this week. And I'll just kind of sit down and do this all on, you know, Sunday. I'll just kind of fill it out, what my week is going to look like. And then I have a section right here that says learn. And that's because as a leader, you always want to be learning and growing and developing yourself. You always want to surround yourself with people that you can learn from. Sorry, my head's cut off. I'm still here. And then it'll talk about, it'll have a section for team call. And I'm going to start having other people host our team calls. So it's got a line here for who's the host, but we haven't started that this week. So currently we haven't started that, but we're going to, so that's why that's up there now. And then it'll say weekly, you know, who's my face-to-face with. I might do a face-to-face, and it might be more than one person. It's kind of a big section. I might do a face-to-face at my house, their house, out for coffee, or I might do a conference call if there's somebody far away. So their name goes up here. And then I have my little goal of how many of those people I'm trying to, now this is different for me than it's going to be for you, but this is how many people I'm trying to touch base with in these categories every week. And from that section, I will then take and put them in my actual book. So here's my planner. I got this at Target. You can probably still get some. I like this one. I used to have an Erin Condren planner, and I like that one too. But I'm kind of a cheapie, and this one works really well for me. And so I'm trying to flip to a page where you can kind of see that what I can do. So next to my whole month calendar, it has columns where I can write down who I need to touch base with, and monthly to do things for the month, gifts and things that I need to buy. But then on the daily, I can break it down by the hours of the day. And so this goes from Monday through Sunday. It's got Saturday and Sunday on one block over here, which is fine for me. And it breaks it down from 7 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock at night, which sometimes gets a little crazy for me because we Flexus people are sometimes working after our kids go to bed. But it does have a section for evening separately, but it doesn't break down the hours after 7 p.m. So something like that might work for you. It does for me. So I then take, hey sweetie, almost. I then take what's on my weekly plan and I put it in that planner. Daily, this breaks down a little differently for me. It just kind of is what I need to get done in my daily life, and that's just going to be different for everybody. Follow up with 5 people. You know, you might do the 5-3-1, you might do the perfect 10. Whatever your daily method of operation is, you're kind of going to break that down here. And so for me, that's a bigger section. It takes up a bigger section. Okay, and then this is my daily outline, and this is just for me to stay on track. It has my Monday through Sunday, and I have, like, Sunday is basically set up as a family day, other than my planning my board and planning. I do my meal planning. I do my filling out my calendar in my planner, and I do my writing anything on here that I need to write. This section right here, like, never changes except for when, let's say, the season changes and my kids are playing a different sport. And so what I'm doing on those evenings changes down here, or something shifts in my whole overall schedule, because this is permanent, this section, for the most part. And it just says what time, like, I need to have my son to the bus, and then when I'm going to exercise, meditate, whatever it is that you're going to do. And then what time my work day starts. So my work day basically starts at 10. Sometimes I get going a little earlier than that. And then I'm usually done with the bulk of what I need to get done by 1:30. And then from 1:30 to 2:45, there's wiggle room. I maybe have to run errands. I maybe do a little bit more Plexus stuff. It depends. But I have 1:30 to 2:45. But this is me being a full-time Plexus person, because this board, I used the same board when I was working 50 hours a week, and my days didn't look like this. I mean, I had Plexus crammed into tiny little sections, little 15 and 30-minute sections that I had it crammed into. And then down here are my basically topics for the day, and this might be useful for you guys. So I have my day sectioned out on what my hours are and what I can dedicate to Plexus, and I'm just very consistent with it. And then the topics of each day, I kind of cycle through, and this will be, when you see me post something in a team page, I probably wrote it on here first that was something I wanted to cover. Like, I might think of 7 things that I want to talk to everybody about, and this is where you can keep yourself from feeling frantic, like you're never getting anything done. You can think of those things, jot them down on a piece of paper, think, oh, I need to tell my team this, because maybe you saw somebody's post that triggered you to think of something. Instead of stopping and getting distracted and going and posting that in your team page, write it down in your agenda or on your little notepad or whatever. And then when you go to plan out your week, write that's the topic that you're going to post about that day. And it can just be whatever topic you think is important. I try to keep focused, and I try to keep cycling back through the same things. That's just been really helpful for me. And then over here, this is my, like, whiteboard of what am I doing at this moment. So if I'm working on just whatever I'm working on, it kind of all gets written out here. That's my big notepad, because that's how I work. Okay. So hopefully that was a little bit helpful to you guys. Another time I can go through and show you my my notebooks that I use, and how I use my notebooks, because I think a lot of people want to know stuff like that too. Right behind me, this one's really important, and we'll talk about this another day. This is the system that's keeping me from being a crazy loony manager mode anymore. I've learned a lot, and so I'll teach you guys that system, but I can't get into that today, because this video is going to be way too long if I do that. I don't even know how long it is right now. Okay, so what else? Sorry. So you want to make the decision to become a professional and handle your business professionally and move forward. Your results will change when you focus on the skills that you need and the commitment that's required, and you start practicing them. I have my notes right here so I don't forget. I already got off track because I'm really good at that. but this helps me not to forget the things I want to talk about. There's 3 very important elements of your business. And people who are not professional and don't have a professional mindset will blame their lack of success on the first 2. The 3 very important elements of your business, and this is according to Eric Worre. If you read his book, this just comes directly from him. And he keeps it really, really simple. Number 1 is product. We have an amazing product. So that's one core piece. Do you have a great product? Yes, we do. Some people will get really caught up in complaining and getting down about, like, oh, my customers aren't having good results. And they kind of like blame the product on that their business isn't growing. But the reality is, if you learn how to ask the right questions and how to guide your customers correctly, how to talk them through the process, how to keep them motivated, you can have great results. And the reality is, if some people are being very successful and they're selling the same products that you are, then it's not the product. So if, for instance, if I do a presentation and somebody else does a presentation, and at the end of that presentation, somebody else is gaining customers and ambassadors from it, but I'm not, then chances are I need to evaluate what I could be doing differently. Now, maybe it's just that I need to get more comfortable and practice what I'm saying and feel more comfortable with it. But maybe I'm not approaching things right. Maybe I have to learn some new things about presenting. So that's important to do. So it's not the products. And how can you learn and where can you learn those skills? Team calls, YouTube videos, webinars, books, blogs. We list them all in our team page. I mean, everything that I've ever found very useful, even moderately useful, I've posted it there, and I've tried to list it where you can find it easily. So what else? The compensation plan is your second of the 3 important elements. The compensation plan has to be great for you to be really successful in network marketing after the products, which have to be great. Well, we have an amazing compensation plan. It is wildly generous. It's available to everybody from the minute that they start this company. And people are absolutely living their wildest dreams and more than they even dreamt. So, I mean, I'm living proof that this can happen, because I had, sorry, I keep doing that. I had an allergic reaction, those of you who saw my Facebook posts several days ago. And so I'm on like medications to try to get the allergic reaction gone, but it's making my lips really dry. Anyway, the compensation plan is phenomenal. And I did not think, I was not cut out to do a business like this. I really wasn't. But the fact is, anybody and everybody can make this happen if they care about other people, if they are motivated, if they're willing to learn. Anybody can do this. The compensation plan is amazing. And some people will blame their lack of success on the compensation plan. But again, if some people are earning great money, retiring, great side income, whatever, then it's not the compensation plan. And ours for sure that's not the case in Plexus. The comp plan is unmatched. And then the third most important element is you. So you are the most important element of your business. You're the difference between success and failure. How you handle yourself and how you handle your business is ultimately the most important thing out of those 3 elements. And those are the 3 things that you need in place to be successful. So this is kind of a call to action to those of you who didn't know that you were the most important defining factor. It's kind of a, from today forward, I'm going to take full responsibility for my business. And this is where you start to pencil in your regular, consistent learning and development for yourself. Because a lot of people are spinning their wheels, doing like putting out fires or just posting on Facebook, but they're not actually stopping and doing the learning. They're not actually evaluating what's working. It's kind of where the rubber hits the road, you know, and that is what's missing. So if that's what's missing, that's what you need to put in place in your day. For me, I work Plexus 2 to 3 hours a day consistently. I pretty much always have. I've always found a way to work my business even into the nooks and crannies of my day. When I was working full-time, that was about 2 to 3 hours a day, and sometimes a little bit more and sometimes a little bit less. But in terms of personal development, that's something that I'm going to spend 30 minutes to an hour on in general most days of the week, not necessarily the weekends. But when you think about, it's not like this just happened. It's not like I just got here. I really worked to figure out what I needed to fix, and I'm still a work in progress, like I said. Let me get my other notes here. So things that you must learn. Okay. So I want to tell you, I want to caution you against something. When you are in network marketing, it's really easy. There's like this dizzying array of all different options of the latest and greatest to build your network marketing business, and you'll see them scroll along in your ads when you're online. Stay away from those. The only thing that you need to do is master a narrow range of skills. It's 7 things. Are you ready? Number 1, talking to people and building relationships. Number 2, finding prospects. Number 3, inviting people to listen to your opportunity or your products, about your opportunity products. Number 4, presenting. You can present in front of a lot of people. You can present in front of a few people, but you have to figure out how to present effectively. Number 5, following up. You have to follow up. There's so many people who, and I was a little guilty of this myself too, because I thought, because I jumped in and figured stuff out on my own and didn't ask a lot of questions, both in terms of being an ambassador and being a customer. So I was guilty of the not following up. But I learned pretty quickly that that wasn't successful and fixed it. So you've got to fix that. If you're not following up, you need to be. Closing, number 6, closing. We are a huge group of people who doesn't want to push anybody. We don't want to annoy anybody. We don't want to push our friends away. We don't want them to feel pressured. And we get all like this about it. So we're afraid to try to close it, ask for the sale. So learning to ask for the sale. I would say Sarah Robbins, Rock Your Network Marketing Business. That book, if you want to learn how to find prospects, invite, present, follow up, and close, that's probably your go-to book for that. And then number 7, getting people started right. And that's something that some people are great at and some people are not great at, and we as a team are figuring out how to get people started really right. I think we've always done a really good job of being supportive, but in terms of creating a duplicatable system, that was a little bit harder, and I think we're figuring that out now. So learning is really key. Professionals are always learning and surrounding themselves with people that can enlighten them even more. Be around positive, happy people, positive, successful, encouraging, people who support where you're headed and the direction that you're going in. Because I've seen actually a lot of people not seek out, and I don't want to get into the psychology of this, but I have a lot of thoughts about it. But I've actually seen a lot of people become either apathetic or shut down their dreams and their goals because they're around people who are discouraging. I have seen that a lot. I've seen people overcome it, and I've seen people succumb to it. So if you want to be a professional, you have to make that decision that you're the one that's got to live with your life, and you're the one at the end of the story that it's your life. So I'm just going to say, don't ever set aside your dreams because somebody who's not living the life that you want to live says you can't do that. I mean, typically, people that are truly successful are going to try to lift you up and raise you up and help you. I mean, somebody with a very successful mindset, that's the way they're going to be. And the people that will drag you down are the people who aren't going anywhere anyway. So you've got to make that decision. Okay. How do you learn? How do you gain this knowledge? Read testimonials because you need knowledge about our products. You need to understand where this passion is coming from. People's lives are changing. It's amazing. It's a big deal. Read books about network marketing. Read blogs from network marketing professionals. Listen to their podcasts. Listen to audio of books or team calls in your car, in between going different places, running your kids around, running errands, on your way to work, when you're on a jog, when you're walking the dog, or set aside your free time. If you've got 30 minutes of quiet time where you can like schedule to watch a webinar, if you've got to put it down on paper, just do it. You know, a lot of people say, I'm just so scatterbrained and I can't. And I'm like, but you have all the potential in the world, so make yourself do it. Start somewhere. Start somewhere. Okay, feed into your motivation. Don't get lulled into apathy and just kind of forget where you were headed. My other notes, my last notes. You need to become a leader if you're not already a leader, and I want to talk about why that's important. It's hard to see my notes now. Hang on a second. Sorry, guys, bear with me. In these ways, I'm not all that professional. Okay. Being a leader, this is a big one. I see a lot of people who have lots of leadership potential, but something's going on in their mind where they don't see themselves as a leader. And I think that that stifles them. On one hand, it's okay because, well, it's not okay that it stifles them. What do I mean by that? Sometimes we get frustrated because our business is not taking off as fast as we want it to, and we're not accelerating up to gold, senior gold, ruby, senior ruby, emerald as fast as what we initially hoped for and dreamed for. I get that that's frustrating. I also get that it doesn't matter because you will get there if you keep doing these steps that we're talking about, the learning, the growing, the development, the daily activity, the follow-up. It will come. It will. What I think is the holdup for some people, though, is that although occasionally some people have soared quickly to the top of our pay plan without having had to develop the skill set that goes with it, there have obviously been, we have amazing products, we have an amazing pay plan, and there have been those people who soar really quickly to the top. But it's not what should be expected, and it's not the typical, because 2 years to get anywhere around emerald is really fast in reality. If you compare our company and our pay plan to a lot of other companies and what their scale is, I mean, we're heads and shoulders above what they're making in other companies, even at their top levels. Like, I don't want to go into all that right now because get off track. But if you're not, you can't find him. Okay, I'll help you in a minute, okay? Did you let the door open somewhere? Go check in my room.
I did.
Okay. So if you're not soaring as fast as you want to, my guess is it was giving you time to cultivate. I'm having a hard time getting these words out because I think I didn't think it through very clearly before I started talking about this, but you have to cultivate that sense of leadership in yourself. So if you don't see yourself as a leader and you can't picture it, you're probably stuck right where you are. And I believe that every time, and I have seen it, that every time somebody mentally makes that leap, their business starts to take that leap. It always follows. So I think if that's where your problem is, that's what you should focus in on in terms of personal development. Like if I say, do you see yourself as a leader? I mean, really picture that, what that looks like. People are leaning on you to do conference calls. People are leaning on you for answers. People are wanting to meet up with you and you show them how to do what you did. All kinds of things. If that feels uncomfortable to you and you're not actually sure, like, wait a second, how would I actually do that? How would I show somebody else how to do these things? How would I be the leader and be the go-to person? So if you can't picture that, you need to work on that first and becoming a leader first in your mind, because it'll follow in your business. I kind of saw right at the outset, although I do think that I have a leadership personality, I didn't have any desire to be a leader. So I had to fix that because I also knew if I don't want to be a leader, I'm not going to get to those levels of this pay plan. I'm not going to reach, therefore, I don't want to change just one life. I was happy when just one life was changed because of these products, but I want to reach thousands of lives. So I had to expand in ways that I sort of never expected to have to expand. And then wrapping this up, leaders are leaders whether they have a team or not. So if you already have a team and you haven't been a leader yet, start to develop that. And whether you have a team or not, you can have a leadership mentality. Be aware, too, that your social media presence on this topic is really important. You are on stage, even if it's not a real stage. You're on stage. Your actions, the things that you post, the attitude, the way that you present yourself, you're representing Plexus, first of all. You're representing yourself, and if you don't have a professional outlook, and if you aren't demonstrating that to your soon-to-be team or your already existing team, you're going to have a lot of trouble. So, I mean, when I see people saying negative things, posting, just foul language and just things that are not professional, if you wouldn't expect to see it on a legitimate business person's page, then it shouldn't be on your page. Not if you want to develop a team, not if you are somebody who's looking to reach the top tier of our pay plan. You have got to get that under control, and you have to be aware of it. I don't remember the entire analogy, but there's it's not an analogy. It's I forget what it's called, but if you take the word think, THINK, before you post something, and I believe it's like, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it, what does the I stand for? Is it informational? Think of it as information that helps people. Is it necessary? And is it kind? If what you're going to post doesn't fit into those categories, then don't post it. And I mean, if it's true, even things like, oh, I heard such and such about the products, and like just dropping that on the team page, and you don't know if it's true, but you're just kind of putting it out there, and you can start like this whole whirlwind of negativity. Like, don't do it. If you're a leader, don't do that. Okay, and I feel like there was one other thing I was going to say, but I'm going to end it right there because I actually don't remember. Oh no, there is one more thing I want to say. Sorry, I can talk forever. Mentors. From leadership then develops mentor mentality. And so mentors lead by example. They are authentic, they listen, and they make unreasonable requests to people, just like a personal trainer does, so that you would do things that you wouldn't otherwise do. So I want to say that we, as people's upline, let's say when you're talking to your team, to your downline, you want them to understand, look, we're here for you as your upline, support-wise, and to get you going and to get you your information, to get you set. But your upline is not responsible for your success. That is to be something you personally decide. You read, you learn, you grow, and you pass it on. We all learn and grow and pass it on. If you don't take your business seriously, and this is something that, probably doesn't apply to the people that are watching this because you are taking your business seriously, but it'll apply to your downline. If they're not taking their business seriously, why would anybody else? Why would I take your business seriously if you're not taking it seriously? Why would I spend time out of my life on somebody who's not actually taking their business seriously? That's a waste of my time. It is all doable and it is all manageable if you break it down, if you really drill down and look at what your goals are and put that into something workable, adjust it as you go. It's okay to fix things and say, this didn't work, let me adjust this and make it different next month. Anyway, be consistent, be totally consistent, decide your hours, analyze how much time you have, and designate that time for personal development, home events, online parties, You can say something like to your team, you can go, hey, I have 4 dates still left, still available for next month. Who wants them? To do a home party, to do a launch event, to do an online event. You might have only had those 4 days in the first place, but they don't know that. And make sure that you are following up with people, both your customers and your ambassadors. That's something that you need to put into your daily work. And then those seven things that we talked about earlier. So hopefully that was helpful and helping you keep straight and figure out who to pour your time and effort into, which I'll talk about in the next video, which has to do with that board right behind me. Have a good night and go Plexus.